Chapter 91. The Godly Cunning Immortal is a Buddhist monk. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. In the karst cave east of the Blood Phoenix Nest. Ow, Feng Xiaoxiao struggled to stand up, gasping with pain. She looked around with a face full of doubts. Am I still alive? These ancient formations were all wiped out. Who is it, who is so powerful? Feng Xiaoxiao's face changed slightly, and her pupils shrank. When she looked at the huge skeleton in front of her, cold sweat was streaming down her forehead. What happened afterward? I must leave here quickly. Feng Xiaoxiao took out medicine pills and swallowed them. She left quickly after she adjusted her breaths. Not long after that, she came up to the ground and followed behind several cultivators. This time, I was lucky enough to survive thanks to the Godly Cunning Immortal. Yes, after listening to that music, not only does the body recover, but my talent is also increased dozens of times. Some people have even increased 100 times. It's a great fortune. Now, if we compared our talent to Feng Xiaoxiao's talent, perhaps she doesn't even have the qualifications to carry our shoes. 1. Stop talking. The Godly Cunning Immortal arranged for us to find the Blood Phoenix. We must accomplish this. Okay. Several people left quickly. Feng Xiaoxiao's expression changed after she heard this. Godly Cunning Immortal. Is there really a Godly Cunning Immortal in this world? It doesn't matter. I need to go back then, talk about it later. After saying that, Feng Xiaoxiao turned into a rainbow and left quickly. Sun Hao looked around and found that there was no one around. He could not help but sigh faintly. This time, he was fully prepared, but he didn't see the immortal cultivator. Even if he met one, they would clamor to kill him but ended up losing their own lives. Sun Hao sighed quietly. Forget it, he should return first and prepare a lot of ammunition. In the future, he would travel and send things all over the world together with Rumeng. At that time, wouldn't he be able to gather his fill of blessing points? Okay, store it all, Rumeng, let's go back. Sun Hao said. Yes, young master. Huang Rumeng finished collecting things and hurried away with Sun Hao. Time flies, and it has been 3 days in a blink of an eye. The Blood Phoenix Nest is located in the northern part of the western region, closer to the northern region in central region. Most of those who came to the Blood Phoenix Nest this time were cultivators from the western region, northern region, and central region. Because of the Blood Phoenix Nest, the name of the Godly Cunning Immortal spread throughout the western region, even spreading rapidly to the northern region and central region. So many cultivators have seen it with their own eyes, and after many disseminations, the Godly Cunning Immortal have become omnipotent existences after they have arrived. As long as the mention of Godly Cunning Immortal, many cultivators' eyes would glint, and the worship was painted all over their faces. There are too many people who want to visit Godly Cunning Immortal. Of course, the Godly Cunning Immortal's name was spread among the human race and spread to the demons and demons. On this day, somewhere in Xiang planet, in a tall tower covered by skulls. The 5-meter high human-shaped skeleton sits in the main seat, and in his hollow eyes, 2 groups of soul flames were constantly jumping. It was the master of the evil race, Guizhu. In front of Guizhu, more than a dozen clan chiefs were standing. Each of them was so powerful that people did not dare to look directly at them. Plop. With a sound, the chief of the Heart Devourer clan bowed down, and his voice was grieved. Great Lord, our family has suffered a heavy loss, please help our family to avenge this sea of blood, too. After speaking, the chief of the Heart Devourer clan kept kowtowing. Get up. Guizhu said faintly, but the sound that came out was loud. The voice seemed to have some magical power. When the Heart Devourer clan's chief heard this, his body trembled, and he quickly stood up. Then, Guizhu's eyes swept around, and he said, Do you all have anything else to say? My lord. At this moment, the human puppet clan's chief Mo Hun stood up. Speak. Guizhu said. Godly cunning immortal had already destroyed my clan's plan 3 times, he must be eliminated. Mo Hun said. In this way, do you also believe in godly cunning immortal? Gue Zhu's voice revealed a bit of anger. As these words came out, the chiefs there couldn't help but tremble. My lord, isn't it like that? Mo Hun asked. Use your brain to think. Gue Zhu's soul flames were constantly jumping, he seemed to be angry. When the chiefs heard this, they all bowed their heads, not daring to face it. He had spoiled my plans 3 times, and every time, it was arranged in advance. Say, who can predict these, who? Gue Zhu said. My lord, the Buddhist monk in the Western Paradise, are proficient in Grand Tao of Time. Is it possible that all of this is their work? Mo Hun asked. Yes. Gue Zhu nodded slightly. Godly cunning immortal is nothing but a Buddhist monk in the Western Paradise, manipulating everything behind his back and spoiling my plans. Do they think such a method will escape from my eyes? Gue Zhu said. The faces of many chiefs showed a look of sudden enlightenment when they heard this. If the godly cunning immortal was a Buddhist monk, then everything really makes sense. See through the future and do everything, except for the Buddhist monk in the Western Paradise, who else can do it now? The Lord is wise. The chiefs bowed to the ground and saluted again. My lord, since the godly cunning immortal is a Buddhist monk, what should we do? Mo Hun asked. Of course, kill him after he's found. Gue Zhu's calm voice was very domineering. The 2 soul flames in the eyes revealed unparalleled confidence. My lord, please assign this to me. Mo Hun said. My lord, allow me to go. My lord, it will be much easier to deal with the Buddhist monk if you allow me to go. The chiefs stood up one after another. The soul flames in Gue Zhu's eyes bounced slightly. Finally, he turned his head to face Mo Hun. This matter is left to Mo Hun. Thank you, my lord. Mo Hun knelt down and saluted respectfully. I'll give you 3 months. If you can't accomplish it, I will find you. Gue Zhu said. Yes, my lord. All right, that's the end of today, dismissed. After speaking, Gue Zhu's figure flashed and disappeared in an instant. The other chiefs also disappeared one by one. Finally got this mission. There was no skin on Mo Hun's face, and his smile was very frightening. Then, his figure flashed and disappeared. When he reappeared, he had already come to a cave. Mo Hun looked up to the sky and laughed like crazy. Godly cunning immortal turned out to be a Buddhist monk, this is interesting. Presumably, your strength is not weak if he can predict everything. When I refine you into a puppet, maybe it is not weaker than the drought demon. By then, the first clan position is none other than my puppet clan. Mo Hun laughed again. Chief, what makes you happy? At this moment, a black shadow floated in. Mo Shan, you came just right. Mo Hun looked at the dark shadow and said. Chief, you say. Mo Shan said. Mo Shan, this time the Lord has sent our clan to kill the godly cunning immortal. Mo Hun said. Godly cunning immortal. Is that the godly cunning immortal who predicted everything and caused our clan to lose the 4 generals? Mo Shan asked. True. Mo Hun nodded. Chief, I'm afraid this person will be difficult to deal with. Mo Shan said. Of course. You don't know, but he is a Buddhist monk in the Western Paradise. Mo Hun said. What? Buddhist monk. What should we do? Since he is staring at us, he will know in advance by any means, Chief, this is not a good job. We don't know where and how strong this godly cunning immortal at all. Once we move, we might be caught by him again. Mo Shan said. You're right. Don't worry, we have 3 months. It's easy to find out his position. Just ask the heart demon for help, and you can find him. Since he can predict all of our actions, then we can't do it ourselves, we can only kill with a borrowed knife. 3. Mo Hun said. Borrowing a knife to kill. Whose knife should we borrow? Ordinary knives might not be able to hurt the godly cunning immortal at all. Said Mo Shan. Don't worry, I will see the high priest tomorrow. I will figure out which knife to borrow soon. Well, you continue to get the drought demon out. Mo Hun ordered. Yes, chief. Carrie's shoes refers to unpromising or not talented, hatred caused by people being killed, getting someone else to do the dirty job. Patreon is voluntary, be one if you can and like to support. Tbh I am a beginner in making website, I have no prior knowledge whatsoever, I hope I could fix this website interface professionally if I have the capital later. Chapter 92. Young Master's mission must be completed. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. In a secret room in Jade Lake Palace. Master, what makes you so happy? Su Yiling asked. Happy. Am I? Luo Luyen said. You are not. Ever since you came back to the present, you have been laughing secretly. If there is anything happy, please share with us. Su Yiling said. Yes. Mu Bing nodded. Actually, it wasn't anything. Luo Luoyan's face turned red, and she lowered her head. It's young master who treats me as a close friend. What? Close friend? Master, that's great. Luoyan, that's good. They all exclaimed one after another. The other four people looked as if they were staring at a monster. Envy and jealousy flooded those staring eyes. Speaking of it, I'm still ashamed. Luo Luoyan showed a look of embarrassment. Young master himself destroyed the blood phoenix, and we didn't realize the arrival of the evil race Fa Lao. If it were not for young master, the three of us might have died there. Luo Luoyan lowered her head with a look of shame. Leader Luo, since young master called you a friend, it means that you passed young master's test this time. Yes, right, are there any new instructions from the young master? Everyone stared at Luo Luoyan again. Young master gave me this. Then, Luo Luoyan, out of 5 scrolls, and put on the stone table top, I have not had time to see them. Then everyone, let's look at it together. Perhaps young master's instructions will be hidden inside these 5 paintings. Okay. The scrolls were unfolded. They were, sunset painting, flying to the moon painting, ancient temple painting, dragon soaring to the cloud painting, and smoke painting. Every painting has a profound concept. The 5 people were stunned, and they hadn't recovered after a long time. In the end, all of them stared at the smoke painting. This painting was full of debris, without a living being. It looks like the end of the world, very desolate. There was an inexplicable melancholy in their hearts when they saw this scene. Dean 1, can you see what the young masters means? Luo Luoyan asked. When Renshi sighed and shook his head for a while, it's hard for this old man to see through the young master's deep meaning. How about you? Mu Bing frowned and shook her head. Leader Luo, I can only understand the meaning of this smoke painting. Chen Daoming said. Oh. Quickly say it. All of them stared at Chen Daoming. Young master is telling us that if this mission is not completed, the country will be littered with corpses, terrible. Chen Daoming sighed here, or even the whole world is likely to be wiped out. Once these words were uttered, the sound of inhaling cold breaths could be heard. Their hearts suddenly tightened. This was related to the entire world and the entire ordinary people. We must complete young master's mission. Luo Luoyan said solemnly. The others nodded their heads when they heard it. Putting it away, they stared at the scroll again and scrutinized it. Except for Su Yiling, the 4 of them stayed in a place like wooden stakes, motionless. Young master gave us 5 scrolls, was it one for each person? Young master gave us instructions hidden in the painting, it's so difficult. Su Yiling scratched her head and looked confused. Su Yiling sighed heavily, sitting on the stone bench, supporting her chin with both hands. Young master's instructions are too difficult. My little head doesn't understand it at all. Su Yiling looked at 4 motionless stakes. It was unknown how long had passed. They sighed in turn, recovering from their dumbfoundedness. It's so difficult. When Renshi sighed heavily and looked at Luo Luyen, Luyen, do you have any other instructions? Other instructions? Luo Luyen frowned and began to think. Then, her eyes flashed, by the way, young master asked me to take Yiling to eat. What? Eat. Su Yi stood up lingeringly, her eyes blooming with strange brilliance. I can have a meal with young master again. Humph, when it comes to eating, you are very excited, and you didn't even work hard to cultivate. Luo Luyen pretended to be angry. Master, how didn't I work hard? Now, I have reached perfection Mahayana realm. Su Yiling informed them. What? Their expressions looked as if Su Yiling was a monster. It only took her more than 10 days to break 2 realms in a row. What a monster. Seeing everyone staring at her like this, Su Yiling's face turned red, revealing 2 shallow dimples. Master, I don't actually work very hard. The main reason is that the spirit of the Jade Lake Palace is getting stronger and stronger. Even if you don't practice, you can reach the Mahayana realm. Look at Chen Daoming, now he has reached the Crossing Calamity realm. Su Yiling said. What? Fellow Daoist Chen, are you really in Crossing Calamity realm? Luo Luoyan's face was full of surprise. Just reached the early stage of Crossing Calamity. Chen Daoming affirmed, fellow Daoist Luo, you and I are in the same realm. If young master has any instructions from now on, I can't be left out. That's easy. The faces of several people were full of envy. At the same time, they also revealed a look of joy. Their strengths were soaring, and in the future, they can do more work for young master. Lu Yen, since young master asked you to take Miss Yiling to dinner, there must be other instructions. I think you should go as soon as possible. Wen Renshi said. Dean Wen, you are right. However, this time I must bring fellow Daoist Chen with me. I will be able to comprehend it better when the young master gives more instructions with him by my side. Luo Luyen said. That's good. When Renshi nodded, I will have to ask the 2 of you for young master's next instructions. Dean Wen, you're welcome, this should be done by right. Luo Luyen said. Dean Wen, me too. Su Yiling puffed up her cheeks and pouted, pretending to be angry. Yes. Yes, there is also Miss Yiling, then I requested the 3 of you. The 2 of us will go back first. Wen Renshi said. Wait. Chen Daoming stopped the 2 of them. Brother Chen, is there something? Wen Renshi asked. Young master can recognize the leader Luo as a close friend, and everyone here is indispensable. So, I suggest for leader Luo to be rewarded 3 leaves of enlightenment tea, Dean Wen and Miss Mu will be rewarded 2 leaves of enlightenment tea. As for Miss Yiling and me, we advanced by leaps and bounds due to our hard work. Each person will be rewarded with a leave of enlightenment tea. Does it look good? Chen Daoming said. When the 4 of them listened to this, their eyes sparkled. Joy was written all over their faces. Brother Chen, I don't think there is a problem since the rewards and punishments are clear. I have no opinion either. Under the greedy gaze of the other 4, Chen Daoming took out the tea leaves and sent them to each one in turn. This is enlightenment tea. Wen Renshi was shaking with excitement while holding both tea leaves. When a piece of enlightenment tea leaves appeared, there would be corpses everywhere. If someone else knows that they have 2 pieces, wouldn't that be bad? It took a long time for Wen Renshi to calm down. Okay, let's go back first. About the young master. We will trouble the 3 of you. Don't worry. Chapter 93. The Supreme Being, I understand. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. If heaven made me, then I must have a use while I have squandered 1,000 pieces of gold, and wait for their return. 1. Sun Hao looked at the cursive script that he had just finished writing and nodded in satisfaction. It was done in one go, without any pause. It was meaningful and perfect. Continue. After the ink dries, Sun Hao directly rolls up and lays out a piece of drawing paper again. He picked up the pen and dipped it in the ink, and he was just about to swish it when, Master, Sister Luyan and the others are here. Huang Rumeng's voice came from outside the door. Hearing this sound, Sun Hao's eyes beamed. Okay, go ahead, I'll be there soon. Yes, young master. Sun Hao opened the blessing points panel, looked at the 26,000 blessing points, and secretly said. Finally, I can get blessing points again. Is it possible to get 4,000 points today? Putting down the brush, Sun Hao walked directly out. I have seen young master. Seeing Sun Hao coming out, Luo Luyan and the two others hurriedly clasped their fists to salute. Although they have been here many times, they still seem very cautious. The more they understood, the more admiration they had in their heart. I'm looking forward to you. Hey, why didn't Miss Mu Bing and Old One come? Sun Hao said. What? Was young master looking forward to the 5 of us coming together? Damn, we should have come together. Young master, they are back to Supreme Court. Luo Luyan said. Oh. Sun Hao nodded, please come on and sit down. Young master, let me help with cooking. Luo Luyan said. I'll help too. Su Yiling said. All right. Sun Hao and Chen Daoming walked into the pavilion and sat opposite each other. Chen Daoming looked nervous, paying attention to every movement of Sun Hao. He did not dare to relax for even a moment. Brother Chen, should we drink Biluakun this time? Sun Hao said. Thank you, young master. Chen Daoming clasped his fists. Brother Chen, you and I are friends. You are welcome. Sun Hao said. When these words came out, Chen Daoming's mind was like being struck by thunder. At this moment, he completely lost his mind. It took a long time before he recovered a little. Young master actually regarded me as a friend. Is there a blue smoke on my ancestral grave? Young master, don't worry, if you have any instructions, I will not hesitate to do it even if I have to go through water and fire. Chen Daoming thought secretly, looking at Sun Hao. Revealing a glint of incomparable respect. Brother Chen, in a few days, Rumeng and I will be away for a while. The instructions came. Young master had a new mission. Chen Daoming listened carefully and didn't interrupt. I wonder if Brother Chen will be free sometime later. Sun Hao asked. Young master, what do you want me to do? Please don't hesitate to say it. Chen Daoming said. So easy to talk to. Sun Hao was startled slightly and said, I just want to invite Brother Chen to stay with me for a few days, look after the house, and help feed the chickens. Young master, there is no problem. Chen Daoming said. Then thank you, Brother Chen. Sun Hao let out a long sigh of relief. With Chen Daoming's help to look after the house, he can rest assured and go out to enjoy the mountains and rivers, too, with Rumeng. The tea is ready, come have some tea, Brother Chen. Thank you, young master. Then the two began to drink tea and chat. Chen Daoming held the teacup and dared not drink it. Now that he has reached the early stage of crossing calamity, there would be trouble if he breaks through to the middle stage. How should he resist the tricolor thunder tribulation that will come? Brother Chen, don't be stunned, drink. Sun Hao said. Yes, young master. There was no other way. If he didn't drink the tea, then young master would be angry. Right, with that hatchet, the thunder tribulation can be considered as a ball. Chen Daoming was full of confidence because of this thought. Without even thinking about it, he just drank it in one gulp. The endless spiritual power surged all over the body. In an instant, the barrier of Chen Daoming's realm broke open. He reached the middle stage of crossing Calamity Realm now. Whoosh, a dark cloud appeared in the sky. The tricolor thunder light shuttled in the dark clouds, creaking. The power that can destroy the heavens and earth makes people's scalps numb. In the dark clouds, the Thunder Tribulation Giant galloped quickly. Haha, the Thunder Tribulation Giant laughed up to the sky, I'm here. I don't know which little guy is having a tribulation. This time, no matter who it is, I will definitely make your soul scatter. Dare to fight for power with heaven and earth, I'll let you know that heaven is inviolable. Thunder Tribulation Giant secretly clenched his fist, extremely firm. His eyes shone with thunder and looked to the ground, his scalp numb, and he collapsed to the ground. My ancestor, why did you come here again? That little guy is sitting and drinking tea with the Supreme Being. Their relationship is deep. What should I do? Thunder Tribulation Giant's face was bitter, and his expression wilted. If this continues, this year's performance will not reach the target. When the time comes, I will be punished. Thunder Tribulation Giant looked down, his expression changing. Suddenly, Sun Hao looked up at the sky. This look was like the gaze of a hell ghost. The Thunder Tribulation Giant collapsed to the ground, shivering. Supreme Being, you don't need to say anything, I understand. After finishing speaking, the Thunder Tribulation Giant took out a ray of thunder light from his body, pointed it at Chen Daoming, and threw it down. The clouds dispersed, and the sky was clear again. Sun Hao looked at the sky, frowning slightly. This weather was bizarre. Just now, it was about to thunder, and then it was clear again. What happened? Is there really someone secretly operating it? This method was also terrible. Sun Hao thought to himself, picked up the teacup, and took a sip. Chen Daoming's consciousness sank into his dantian, and when he saw the light of Thunder Tribulation inside, he was dumbstruck. My God, turned out to be the light of Thunder Tribulation, it has no harm, and even merged with my nascent soul. This is the supreme good fortune. My talent has increased several times. All of this was thanks to young master. It took a long time for Chen Daoming to return to calm. He looked at Sun Hao with gratitude in his eyes. The food is ready. At this moment, a clear voice sounded. Su Yiling could be seen walking out quickly with 2 plates. Behind her, Huang Ruming and Luo Luyen each carried 2 plates. They set the table with 6 small dishes on top. It's all plain vegetarian, not at all meaty. Sun Hao watched this scene with a hint of apology on his face. It's all vegetarian dishes, and the hospitality is not good. Young master, you are too polite. These are all my favorites. Su Yiling's eyes flashed with a strange glow, and she constantly swallowed her saliva. Miss Yiling, don't be polite, eat. Yes. After Sun Hao moved his chopsticks, the others followed in turn. Luo Luyen was holding a piece of radish, she wanted to bite but didn't dare to bite. Now, she has reached the early stage of crossing calamity and has been suppressing it all the time. If she took the supreme elixir here, she would definitely have a breakthrough. When the Thunder Tribulation came, would she be able to resist it? Fellow Taoist Luo, don't be afraid, you can eat, there won't be any problem passing tribulations with young master here. Chen Daoming's voice came at that moment. Hearing this, Luo Luyen looked at Chen Daoming, her eyes gleaming, did you have a breakthrough? That's right. Moreover, it was amazing. Chen Daoming said. Luo Luyen looked at the piece of radish, without even thinking about it, she bit down on it, and after a few bites, she swallowed it into her belly. There was a breaking sound. Her realm membrane broke again. She had a breakthrough at this moment. Bring in the Wine by Tang Li Bai, poems translation gotten from https 2018/03/04/bring.on.the.wine/traveling around. Chapter 94. The Unfortunate Thunder Tribulation Giant. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. In the sky, among the dark clouds. Thunder Tribulation Giant rushed out quickly, shuttled back and forth, his face was full of joy. It's great, great. It's just a breath of time, and someone will have a tribulation again. God is helping me. It seems that there is hope to reach this year's performance target. When he said this, the Thunder Tribulation Giant smiled slightly. This time, I can't always meet the Supreme Being, right? Little guy, don't blame me. Blame it on your bad luck. To accomplish the goal, there's no choice. Thunder Tribulation Giant turned its piercing gaze downward and retracted it in a flash. Thunder Tribulation Giant's lips quivered, and his voice trembled. That kind of helplessness and bitterness were written all over his face. Why does it have a connection with the Supreme Being? What do I do? God! Please don't torture me like this. Thunder Tribulation Giant sighed secretly, drew a ray of thunder light from himself, and gave it down to Luo Luyen. The clouds and mists in the sky quickly dissipated. Everything was back to normal. Luo Luyen stared at her dantian blankly, and her face was full of disbelief. Is this the light of Thunder Tribulation? Is it fusing with my nascent soul? How can I obtain such good fortune? All of this must be because of young master. Luo Luyen looked at Sun Hao with gratitude all over her face. In that case, take this opportunity to break through to the late stage of crossing calamity. Luo Luyen thought secretly and quickly began to eat. All 5 of them ate their food in silence, and none of them spoke. Suddenly, Su Yiling stopped in place, and she looked at the small dishes on the table anxiously. Why don't you eat it? Luo Luyen asked. Master, I'm in the early stage of crossing calamity. If I eat again, I will have a breakthrough. Su Yiling pouted as she said that. Don't worry, take the tribulation here. You'll be safe. Luo Luyen said. Really? Of course. Great. Su Yiling let loose of herself and started to snatch food from the crowd. Sun Hao, who watched this scene, raised the corners of his mouth. He was in a good mood. Every time they ate a piece of food, they contributed some blessing points for him. The feeling was wonderful. Refuel, 1, eat it all up. It seems that the food is not enough. I will cook for you. Sun Hao stood up calmly and walked to the kitchen. Huang Rumeng also immediately followed behind and left quickly. Without Sun Hao and Huang Rumeng present, they let themselves lose even more. They completely looked as if they were in a war of snatching the food. The scene was not in the least bit harmonious at all. After a while, a breaking sound was heard. Su Yiling broke through. Phew! There was another black cloud in the sky. The tricolor thunder light that flashed among the dark clouds kept making shocking sounds. In the dark clouds, the Thunder Tribulation Giant stood in place, his expression nervous and his heart beating violently. This time, the people who crossed the tribulation shouldn't have anything to do with the Supreme Being, right? After taking a few long breaths, the Thunder Tribulation Giant swept his eyes down. After a while, it was immediately withdrawn. He collapsed to the ground all over with a bitter face. Supreme Being, I know how to do it. After speaking, the Thunder Tribulation Giant drew out a ray of thunder light and sent it to Su Yiling. It stopped. Su Yiling looked at the sky, unable to believe it. Don't be stunned, look at your dantian. Luo Luyen said. Su Yiling nodded, sinking her consciousness into her dantian, she was instantly frightened to the spot. Her little mouth opened into an O shape. She couldn't react at all. Master, hush, don't let young master hear it so as not to break young master's Dao heart. N. Su Yiling nodded heavily. Fellow Taoist Luo, I'm about to break through. You won't take this soup from me, right? Chen Daoming said. Fellow Taoist Chen, I want to make a breakthrough too, so let me drink that little soup. Luo Luyen said. Master, the leftovers are cold. Let me drink it for you. Su Yiling said. Then, the three of them began to compete for 6 plates. Meanwhile, Sun Hao and Huang Rumeng walked out with 4 dishes each. Seeing the scene in front of him, he couldn't help but become dumbfounded. The dignified cultivator actually fighting to drink soup. It seems that the dishes did not contain soup, but only a little bit of juice, right? Rumeng, you are good at cooking. Thank you for your praise, young master. Let's go, and we will deliver this to them. Okay. When Sun Hao brought 4 dishes to them, they stayed there stupidly, showing a touch of embarrassment. Don't freeze, eat. If it is not enough, we will cook again. Sun Hao said. Young master, this is enough. The 3 of them then continued to eat. Shortly after, Luo Luyen broke through again, reaching the late stage of the tribulation realm. In the sky, dark clouds are everywhere. The thunder tribulation giant shuttled among the dark clouds and burst into laughter. Supreme being aside, there were only 3 little guys. They have already broken through. The person who went through tribulation this time is certainly unrelated to them. It's only a quarter of an hour before someone went through tribulation again, God is helping me. Haha, the thunder tribulation giant raised his head to the sky and laughed, and it took a long time for him to calm down. This time, I'm sure to blow your soul away. After speaking, the thunder tribulation giant began to gather 6 colored thunder lights. The terrible power seemed to be able to destroy the world. When he was about to throw it down, his scalp felt numb, and his whole person was like sinking into a freezing cold hell. My God, why are they going through tribulation again? This is not letting me live. It's so bitter. The thunder tribulation giant took back the thunder light in an extremely unwilling expression. He pulled out 2 strands of thunder light from his body and threw them down to Luo Luyen. The thunder tribulation giant disappeared from that place with a dark cloud accompanied by a whistling sound. About a quarter of an hour later, the dark cloud that took the thunder tribulation giant appeared again in the same place. This time, without even thinking about it, he drew 2 strands of thunder light from his body and threw them down to Chen Daoming. It was as though he was a plucked rooster in those lifeless eyes, which made him look very sloppy. Supreme Being, don't frown, I can only pull so much. Otherwise, I will become a hairless rooster, and then I will be unemployed. Supreme Being, please leave Xiang planet. I couldn't do my job with you being here. Thunder tribulation giant muttered, his face was bitter. Shortly after, he appeared again, drew out 2 strands of thunder light, and threw them down to Su Yiling. Then he left that place with a dark cloud. Sun Hao looked at the changing sky and frowned. This awful weather was bizarre, it was bright in a moment then dark the next moment. It feels like someone was controlling the switch. The identity of those with this kind of control must be extremely terrifying. Who the hell is it? Great. Luo Luyen and the others couldn't help clenching their fists, sensing the changes in their dantian, their faces were full of joy. The nascent soul in their dantian merged with the tricolor thunder light underwent a complete transformation. Now, with every strand of spiritual power drawn, there will be a strand of thunder tribulation power. It was 10 times more powerful than pure spiritual power. This was truly supreme good luck. It was naturally young master who gave them all of this. Young master, I can't repay such great kindness. If you have anything, I will definitely go through fire and water. These several people murmured, gratitude written across their faces. Jiao, cheering somebody on. Chapter 95. Converting the Giant Ape. You are listening at novelfull.audio. 20 kilometers south of the Great Demon Mountain, in a small road. Drap drap, a man was riding a wildebeest, walking towards him step by step. His clothes were ragged and in tatters, and his body was covered with mud stains. He looks like a beggar. The man held a painting scroll wrapped in a bamboo tube tightly in his hand and was careful not to damage it. This person was none other than Ning Mingji. The scroll in his hand is the Worship Buddha painting given to him by Sun Hao. Finally, I'm finally here. Young master, I will be able to find your residence soon. Ning Mingji's eyes flashed with a strange light. Over the past few dozen days, he went all the way through the mountains and rivers, through thousands of difficulties. Entered a poison cave into the den of thieves to suppress the pig demon. As a mortal undergoing such a journey, he was almost dead every single time. However, there was a painting scroll gifted by young master, every time it could turn misfortune into a blessing. Especially when he encountered the pig demon that time, he was almost torn apart by it. Fortunately, the pig demon was enlightened by the chanting and now came here to protect him. Moreover, a single wildebeest surrendered on the road, which sped up the journey a lot. Every time he recited the scriptures, these two little demons will be utterly intoxicated. He only learned the surface of the great Tao of Buddhism, yet it showed such amazing ability. If it was in the hands of young master, it was absolutely omnipotent. The arduous journey will surely be the test from young master. Fortunately, he passed all of them. Suddenly, there was a loud roar, as if tigers and dragons were raging in mountains and forests. When his human ears heard this roar, his whole body was numb. The pig demon's hair stood up and growled constantly. It seemed like they encountered a great danger. Little pig, what's the matter? Ning Mingji asked. Howl. The pig demon's eyes looked fixedly ahead. At this time. Boom. Boom, loud explosive sound came from the front, every sound made the ground buzzing and shaking. Looking through the gap in the dense forest, Ning Mingji's pupils couldn't help but shrink, and his scalp went numb. He saw that a giant ape as high as several tens of meters was walking step by step. The giant ape was completely dark, with a metallic luster. The taut muscles seemed to be able to tear the world apart, evoking boundless fear. This is a big demon. Ning Mingji's voice trembled, and his whole body trembled. The wildebeest neighed, taking a step to turn around, and retreated quickly. The pig demon let out a roar, immediately turned around, and ran back quickly. The giant ape seemed to have spotted them, slapping his chest and roaring constantly. The sound was like thunder, making the trees shake and sway. Immediately afterward, the giant ape stepped forward and rushed over. Boom! 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 The surrounding trees were uprooted and flew everywhere. The ground was upheaved layer by layer, which made the rubble soared. Everything seemed like a doomsday. Can't escape. When he saw the approaching giant ape, Ning Mingji's heart sank into hell, sweating coldly. He quickly took out the scroll in his hand and spread it out in his palm. After that, he closed his eyes and started to chant. Listen, Sariputra, this body itself is emptiness, and emptiness itself is this body. This body is not other than emptiness, and emptiness is not other than this body. The same is true of feelings, perceptions, mental formations, and consciousness. 1. His voice turned into a series of scriptures which fluttered straight into the ears of the giant ape. The giant ape froze, hugged his head, fell to the ground while it roared again and again. Its body is shrinking rapidly. After a few breaths, it turned into a monkey, and its eyes looked clean with a red shine in them. The eyes were clear and pure, just like a newborn baby, full of curiosity about the whole world. Squeak! The monkey ran to Ning Mingji, jumped up, and hugged his head tightly. It looked as if it was hugging its mother, very dependent. Ning Mingji retracted the painting scroll and slowly wiped off the cold sweat. He hugged the monkey and said, "From today, you will be called Little Monkey." Squeak! The monkey scratched his head and ears then nodded. Okay, now follow me to see young master, let's go. Ning Mingji yelled softly, and the wildebeest stepped forward and walked forward. The pig demon hid directly behind the wildebeest, shivering. It looked at the monkey from time to time, and his eyes were full of fear. After half a day, Ning Mingji stood outside the great demon mountain range. He glanced around, frowned, and thought deeply, where does young master live? At this time, a zheng sound of the guqin sounded for a while. The voice turned softly, and it was very comfortable to be heard by the human ear. Ning Mingji stood there, motionless, listening quietly. The three demons around him also followed him, listening carefully. When the sound of the guqin was finished, the remnant sound lingered. A while passed before Ning Mingji opened his eyes. He looked at the mountain ahead, his eyes gleaming brightly. Young master, thank you. You know that I'm here, and you deliberately played the guqin to lead me, thank you. Little monkey, little pig, little horse, go. Along the mountain path, a man and three demons quickly went up. Rumeng, not bad, you made a big progress. Sun Hao looked at Huang Rumeng and nodded slightly. Young master, you have taught well, so Rumeng can reach this level. Huang Rumeng said. Hearing this, Sun Hao felt comfortable all over. This girl can really talk. She was kind to him, served tea, poured water, washed and cooked. She treats him as a master, and every time she wanted to help, she will find excuses to drive him away. Maybe the previous life was too sad, so God gave him such a good wife in this life. Rumeng, you wait for me, wait until I gain the supreme physique, I will cultivate hard, and I will surpass you. From then on, I will be the one to protect you. Sun Hao muttered, clenching his fists secretly. Young master, the water in this pool is very cold. Today is so hot, why don't we swim together? Huang Rumeng drew his hands towards the Jade Lake pool and said with a smile. Swimming. Sun Hao's eyes beamed. It's really a good exercise. However, if they didn't have swimsuits, wouldn't they have to swim naked? Could he bear it? No, absolutely not. Calm down. I am immortal. In case Rumeng couldn't control her strength, maybe he would break with a loud crack. Henceforth, thinking about that made people sweat. Rumeng, wait for me to knit 2 swimsuits. Sun Hao said. Swimsuit. Huang Rumeng looked puzzled. That's the clothes for swimming. You need to wear clothes for swimming. That's very troublesome. Young master, come on, let's swim together. Huang Rumeng stepped forward, gently pulling Sun Hao with her soft boneless dot-like hands. The fragrant breeze entered Sun Hao's nose. The face that can topple a nation was blushing, too. This was okay. He did not care. Worst came to worst, he just broke. He possesses supreme medical skills, and if he drank some medicine and recuperated for a period of time, he should be able to recover. Sun Hao's eyes were blurred, and he unconsciously followed Huang Rumeng to the side of Jade Lake. Soon, the two came to the pool. Looking at the sparkling water of the Jade Lake, his eyes glowed brightly. Young master, let me help you undress. At this point, Huang Rumeng blushed to the root of her ears, she did not dare to look at Sun Hao's eyes. Sun Hao nodded when Huang Rumeng was about to undress him. Is young master home was heard from outside the courtyard at that time. I'm too lazy, please let me copy the scripture's translation. Source. https://plumvillage.org/about/tik.not.han/letters/tik.not.han.new.heart.sutra.translation/femme fatale, so beautiful she can bring doom to a nation. T/N, sorry it took a long time, the second half of this chapter just made me lose motivation to translate. 3. Join our Patreon to read Turns Out I Am a Dao Ancestor up to chapters 131. Chapter 96. Disturbed at a critical moment. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. Is young master at home? Upon hearing this, Huang Rumeng felt like she was electrocuted, retracted her hands, blushed, and ran back into the house. What bad timing! Sun Hao shook his head for a while. This voice was a bit strange yet also familiar. Who the hell was it? Even disturbed him at a critical moment. Unforgivable. Who is it? Sun Hao's voice showed a trace of anger. Outside, Ning Mingji, who heard this sound, trembled. Young master seemed to be angry. Could it be because he took too much time and did not meet young master's requirements? That must be it. He shouldn't contradict the young master. Thinking of this, Ning Mingji nodded faintly. After a long sigh of relief, he said, "Young master, it's me, Ning Mingji." Ning Mingji. Sun Hao frowned slightly, and his eyes widened in an instant. It's him. That scholar. No, he should be a monk now. But it could not be possible. Sun Hao forgot to tell the address. How did he find his way here? He also seemed to be immortal. Was it possible that an expert was guiding behind him? No matter what, someone willing to listen to his chanting, it won't be so boring. Opening the door, the scene in front of him made his pupils shrank. He saw a horse, a pig, and a monkey standing behind Ning Mingji. Wasn't this the four-person group of monk and apprentices in Journey to the West? Brother Ning, if you can find another demon, you can go on a journey to the West. Sun Hao said. Find another demon. Journey to the West. Was this a new test from young master? Absolutely. This must be written down. Ning Mingji nodded secretly, taking this to his heart. I have seen young master. Ning Mingji put his hands together and performed a Buddhist courtesy. Brother Ning, please come in. How did you find this place? Sun Hao asked. Young master, Mingji was a bit slow. Witted. I thought for a long time before I understood your guidance. At this point, Ning Mingji spread out the picture scroll and pointed to a majestic mountain. Young master, look at the great demon mountain you painted. I usually read a lot of books, and I saw the appearance of Great Demon Mountain in the books, which I didn't think of until later. Ning Mingji said. Hearing this, Sun Hao looked like he was seeing a monster. He just accidentally drew a picture of Great Demon Mountain, but he could guess that he lived here from the painting. Really a monster, too. It can't be considered as a mortal at all. However, the matter that he was disturbing cannot be exposed. Brother Ning, what are you coming here today for? Sun Hao asked. Young master, the little monk is here to listen to your chanting. Ning Mingji said. So that's it. But I won't read the scriptures today, please go back. Sun Hao said. Young master, I will come tomorrow. Ning Mingji said. Please do as you wish. Sun Hao said. Young master, can I build a house under the mountain? Ning Mingji asked. Build a house on the foot of the mountain. What did this have anything to do with him? Don't talk about the foot of the mountain. Even if you build a house near this place, I wouldn't say a word. No problem. Sun Hao nodded. The little monk is going down the mountain first. Go. After Ning Mingji left, Sun Hao withdrew his gaze. It was impossible to give anything to a mortal. It was a waste to give it away. Not to mention, he disturbed him today. He was so hard, ready to snap his restraint. Unexpectedly, the atmosphere was completely destroyed by him. Forget it, it's important to work hard to collect the blessing points. Ms. Lu Yan and the others have gone back, and there is no place to collect the blessing points. Don't they always eat vegetable dishes here every time? Are they not used to eating them? They come again in a few days, so I have to catch a fish first. They seem to really like the rice eel last time. Then should I go to Ghost Dragon Lake to fish a net? Well, then tomorrow I'll ask Rumeng to take me there. Thinking about this, Sun Hao walked into the courtyard. Rumming. Sun Hao shouted. Young master, what's your order? Huang Rumming ran out quickly. Let's go fishing tomorrow. I'm tired of being vegetarian every day. Sun Hao said. Yes, young master. Huang Rumming nodded. In a barren mountain in the western region. Dark clouds pressed on top, lightning flashed and thundered. The heavy rain poured down without any intention of stopping. In less than a moment, flash floods erupted and hit the mountains. The floods poured down the mountains with a thunderous rumbling sound. The entire mountain range collapsed suddenly. A loud explosion noise came from below the mountain again. Dust and mud rose to the sky. Aoo. A long howl resounded through the world. The thunder in the sky was suppressed. A yellow flood dragon soared to the sky, tossing in the dark clouds, fusing with lightning. Zzz, the violent electric light blasted on the yellow dragon and merged with it. The yellow flood dragon's body was undergoing rapid changes. With dragon horns and dragon beards growing on its head, the scales on its body became more and more indestructible as the electric glow tempered it. Suddenly. Zzz, in the dark clouds, a 9-colored electric light suddenly appeared. Seeing this scene, Huang Jiao's complexion changed drastically, the scales on its body flared up. What? 9-color thunder tribulation. Isn't this thunder tribulation unique to human cultivators? Why does it turn to my ancient dragon clan? Huang Jiao murmured, with a trace of panic on its face. Boom! 9-colored thunderbolts rushed together, slammed down on it instantly. No, an unwilling shout sounded. Huang Jiao used his whole body strength to resist the thunderbolt madly. Zzz, 9-colored thunder light wrapped it up in an instant, making a sizzling noise. The scales on its body disintegrated. Its whole body was scorched black. The smell of barbecue spread in the air. The light of thunder tribulation dissipated after a long time. Huang Jiao, no, it should be Huang Long, 3, now, its appearance has completely changed. Its body exudes the aura of a dragon. It transformed successfully. Golden gleaming scales surrounded its whole body. Ayo! The dragon howled. Huang Long rushed out quickly, wandering between heaven and earth. Sometimes flying here, sometimes flying there, it was so happy. The abrupt rain ceased, the dark clouds dissipated, and the sky became clear again. Huang Long floated in the sky, looking down on the world. Huang Long looked up to the sky and laughed like crazy. It's transformed into a dragon. I finally transformed into a dragon, haha. From now on, I can return to my clan and become the supreme dragon. Xiao La, I don't know how you are progressing. I will come to you right away. But before that, I need to get something to eat to pad my belly. Huang Long stared straight ahead, mumbling. Suddenly, it moved like a flash of lightning rushed in the direction of Ghost Dragon Lake. In the blink of an eye, it disappeared. Not long after, it left. A phantom was condensed in the sky, and it was the Thunder Tribulation Giant. He looked in the direction of Huang Long's disappearance, secretly wiped a cold sweat. The ancient dragon clan is powerful. I gave him the strongest Thunder Tribulation, and it even survived it. I finally came across someone who crossed the tribulation, but it was so strong. What should I do? If this continues, this year's performance will be 0. Thunder Tribulation Giant's face was bitter, and his figure slowly disappeared. Instead of the usual palm fist, I don't know if this should be explained, but monster here refer to eccentric too. Huang means yellow. Jiao, what was translated as flood dragon, long, full-fledged dragon. Jiaolong, the legendary dragon that could control rain and flood. Asterisk, if you like what you read, why not join our Patreon for more chapter and support this website. Chapter 97. Sword in 10th Domain, powerful. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. Tianluo Continent, Holy Land of Central Continent. Do you all know? Entering the Blood Phoenix nest this time is full of crises and thrilling. A spray from the ice crystal centipede even made a Mahayana cultivator frozen on the spot, and finally, completely blown to pieces. What? The ice crystal centipede is so terrifying. That's not it. The problem is, it's not a single ice crystal centipede. It was everywhere, covering the whole space. So terrifying. Actually, it was nothing. These ice crystal centipedes were besieged and killed by everyone. The most terrifying thing was that the 4 black armored knights were ancient immortals. Although it was only a phantom, it was also extremely terrifying. The crossing calamity old monster was like chopped vegetables in front of the black armored knights. Fang Xiaoxiao of the Fang family in the northern region was almost cut in half. What? Even Fang Xiaoxiao was not an opponent. What happened afterwards? Fang Xiaoxiao's Dao protector appeared and fought with 4 black armored knights but was chopped up to pieces. What? Even a half-step immortal can't stand it. Won't the rest of the people dead? Of course not. At this critical moment, the godly cunning immortal dispatched out the evil Slayer Alliance. Supreme Court's Dean Wen and Mu Bing stepped forward and cut the 4 black armored knights to ashes with just one sword. Hiss, the sound of cold breath being inhaled came one after another after the word finished. The cultivators that were surrounding the storyteller have a face full of admiration. The godly cunning immortal is really powerful, and he can predict everything. Yes, too powerful. The people sent are also so powerful. What happened later? The storyteller smiled slightly, and then he said again. His mouth was like a torrent of heavenly flowers, and the eyes of the cultivators present were shining brightly. Dean Wen flew out with a sword, and there were sword lights in the air. The 10 generals of the Heart Devourer were cut into countless pieces. Soon, Dean Wen was about to kill Xuanhuan and Shi Ming, but Fa Lao made a move at this time. One move severely wounded the Dean, and another move to contain leader Luo and Mu Bing. He was like the ultimate incarnation of Azura and slaughtered thousands of cultivators. No one can resist his move. Seeing that thousands of cultivators are about to be killed, guess what happened afterwards? At this point, the storyteller paused deliberately. Don't stop, hear a spirit stone. Hurry up and say it. Yes, a spirit stone, right. Here you are. A pile of spiritual stones was quickly filled at the storyteller's table. The storyteller smiled slightly, put the spirit stone away calmly, and continued to speak. At this critical moment, the godly cunning immortal and their lover came. They began to play the guqin, and the sound of the guqin made the Heart Devourer Fa Lao disintegrate into ashes, and he didn't even have the power to fight back. What? The godly cunning immortal is so powerful. Godly cunning immortal, great. The faces of the cultivators were full of worship. Tell you, it's just a godly cunning immortal. If his deity comes in person, the whole world will not be able to withstand his power. The sound of inhaling cold air resounded everywhere again when he was done speaking. The faces of the cultivators flashed strangely. What happened later? Later, leader Luo obtained the soul calming pearl and gave it to the godly cunning immortal. Among the cultivators, Xuanhuan stood there, listening quietly. Suddenly, she seemed to think of something, and she couldn't help but raise her eyebrows. Playing guqin. Wasn't that? The young master I saw that day was the godly cunning immortal. My God! I was so stupid that I wasn't aware. No wonder the calligraphy in my hand is so terrifying. It turns out that he is a godly cunning immortal. Xuanhuan clenched her fists with excitement, and it took a long time for her to calm down. Miss, let's go back as soon as possible. Okay. Xuanhuan brought the middle-aged man to leave quickly. After a while, the two came to Xuanyuan's residence. As soon as she arrived at the gate, she saw a guard rushing in. The two of them entered the family square. Dang dang, a rush of footsteps sounded. Immediately afterwards, hundreds of men and women dressed in white robes and carrying long swords surrounded Xianxia's group of 2 people. White-clothed guards. Xianxia frowned. Her face showed a trace of anxiety. What do you want to do? Xuanhuan's voice was cold. Huh, a laugh sounded. A group of middle-aged men and women came slowly. The person who led them was the Grand Elder. Behind this group of people, there were tens of thousands of people who quickly deployed a formation. Within a moment, a trap formation was arranged. Xuanhuan, take out the demon core. The Grand Elder stretched out his hand and said lightly. Just because you want the demon core. Only the Patriarch has this privilege. Xuanhuan said. This old man is now the Patriarch of the Xuanhuan family. As this sentence came out, just like a heavy blow, it exploded in Xuanhuan's chest. Xuanhuan's face changed drastically, and she pointed to the elder. What have you done to my father? Your father. The Grand Elder shook his head slightly. 5 days ago, your father disappeared and has not returned. Naturally, the family can't afford to be without a patriarch for a day. This old man has taken over for the time being. When your father returns, I will return the position of patriarch to him, said the elder. You, Xuanhuan was shaking with anger, holding the long sword in her hand. Miss, needless to say, this traitor killed your father, allow me to go. Next to Xuanhuan, the middle-aged man stood up. Uncle Ing, be careful. Xuanhuan said. Yes, I will. The middle-aged man tore off his outer coat, revealing a black shirt, and stood in front of the elder. You deliberately send the miss away to make me leave the patriarch. It seems that you are scheming to be the patriarch. The middle-aged man slowly drew out his sword and walked step by step towards the Grand Elder. The Grand Elder laughed up to the sky and did not answer directly. A servant dared to doubt it. If it is at night, the old man will fear you to some degree, but now you can go to hell. The Grand Elder waved his right hand, and the 9 elders around him quickly rushed towards the middle-aged man. Ding, the swords clanked and produced sparks. They fought intensely. For a while, there was no victory or defeat. A bunch of trash. The Grand Elder looked at this scene and shook his head for a while. He seized an opportunity to thrust out his sword. Poochie, the sound of flesh being pierced could be heard. The middle-aged man flew upside down like a broken kite. He hit the ground and made the dust scattered. Poo! The middle-aged man flushed and spouted a mouthful of blood. One blow caused such a serious injury. The middle-aged man struggled to get up and stood in front of Xuanhuan. Miss, run. Run. Grand Elder's sneer, it's too late to run now, right? Kill them. He ordered loudly. The 9 elders rushed to the middle-aged man again. On Xuanhuan's side, hundreds of white-clothed guards rushed over. White-clothed guard, a killing machine that was trained since childhood, has no emotions and will only obey the person holding the master's command token. Whoosh, the sword light flickered, and their figure faltered. Every move was a fatal blow. Injury was exchanged for injury with every sword. It was a frightening move. Poochie, a sword pierced Xuanhuan's arm, the pain made her grimace. Damn it, if this continues, I will definitely die. Xuanhuan swallowed a pill and drew out the long sword, her face was full of killing intent. In that case, go die. The sword intent rushed out of Xuanhuan's body. Sword light shrouded her body in the blink of an eye. She was covered in cold killing intent. Poochie, the sound of metal piercing the flesh sounded. In the blink of an eye, hundreds of white-clothed guards were cut into pieces and died on the spot. This is the sword intent domain. Heavens! The storyteller eloquently embellished the story. Read more on Patreon up to chapter 138. Chapter 98. I am a sword. You are listening at novelfull.audio. She actually comprehended the sword intent domain. How could this be possible? This talent is comparable to the first air. In the distance, a group of children who formed the formations looked at this scene with shock. The Grand Elder looked at Xuanhuan. The expression on his face changed uncertainly. It is indeed an evildoer since she has already taken action, then she can't stay. The Grand Elder thought secretly, lifting the long sword, and then rushed towards Xuanhuan. Hue, immortal power rolled over the Grand Elder, covering him like a shield. The sword light was completely blocked, can't get close to sword intent domain at all. The 9th stage Ascendant Realm powerhouse was so powerful. So what if you are an evildoer? Today, no one will be able to save you. Let me tell you. I have killed your father. The voice only reached Xuanhuan's ears. After finishing speaking, the Grand Elder looked up to the sky and laughed. Looking for death. Xuanhuan was full of anger and quickly rushed towards the Grand Elder. However, she was only a 3rd stage of Ascendant Realm. It's a far cry from the 9th stage Ascendant Realm. Even if she had a sword intent domain, she was still not an opponent for him. Boom! After a few moves, Xuanhuan flew upside down and hit the ground hard, vomited blood. There were more bruises on her body. Pooh! After a long time, Xuanhuan struggled to stand up. She stared at the Grand Elder, clenched her fingers so tightly that they made creaking sounds. Little girl, let you grow up for a while. This old man is definitely not your opponent. However, you will die today. Without giving Xuanhuan any chance to breathe, the Grand Elder rushed over with his sword. The surrounding air pressed frantically, which made Xuanhuan's fingers difficult to move. No, the middle. Aged man let out a shout when he saw this scene. However, he fell heavily to the ground with a few swords on his body. He collapsed. Xuanhuan gaped and closed her eyes, revealing a look of unwillingness. I met the young master with great difficulty and received a shockingly good fortune. On the way back, she successfully comprehended the sword intent domain and became an evildoer. However, the Grand Elder unexpectedly made a move in advance. The patriarch position was replaced, and her father's life or death was unknown. Now, she was separated from her family. Young master, I am going to die before I can give you a thank you gift. I'm sorry. 2 lines of tears fell from the corner of Xuanhuan's eyes. She secretly thought of the calligraphy Sun Hao gave her, and opened her mouth muttered. Sword chi spreads across 30,000 miles, and one sword shines on 19 continents. At this time, Xuanhuan's spiritual space trembled crazily. A scroll flew out of the void. Kacha, the power imprisoned on Xuanhuan's body broke instantly. The Grand Elder's long sword directly pierced the scroll. Boom! The long sword in his hand shattered instantly. Immediately afterwards, the body of the Grand Elder flew out like a broken kite. Boom! He fell heavily to the ground, throwing dust into the air. The scroll soared into the sky, changing rapidly. The words on the scroll were like living things, detached from the paper. The golden light made people unable to open their eyes. These prominent characters danced around Xuanhuan and took her into the air. Xuanhuan closed her eyes and felt it quietly. An incredibly refreshing smile appeared on her face. There was a shockwave. The word, sword, penetrated directly into her head and blended with her body. Incomparably terrifying power rushed in her body. Her whole person seemed to explode, extremely uncomfortable. Xuanhuan gritted her teeth and persisted, absorbing this power through her cultivator. It took a long time for her to absorb all the power in her body. Hue, the word, sword, not right, there was a small part missing on it. The word flew out of her mind. With the other words surrounding her, they flew back to the scroll. The scroll shrank again and flew back to Xianxia's hands. Xianxia opened her eyes and scanned the world with two brilliant lights. She stood there as her power skyrocketed, sharp and unstoppable. No one dared to look Xianxia's eyes squarely. What a strong sword power, I feel that my soul is about to break when I look at it. So strong. She has achieved the unity of human and sword. She is really a swordsman. I can't even produce the least resistance at all facing the swordsman. The younger generation in the distance stared blankly, not daring to breathe loudly. After Xuanhuan glanced around, she retracted her gaze and sighed secretly. The physical body is still too weak, I can't even integrate a single word, I have to continue working hard in the future. Young master, don't worry, I will merge all these words and will not disappoint your high expectations of me. Xuanhuan muttered to herself, secretly clenched her fists. After a long time, she withdrew her expression. Her gaze scanned the ground, staring directly at the Grand Elder. This stare was like the stare of a demon king. The Grand Elder trembled, and his eyes showed fear. Family rebels, die. Xianxia's voice was cold, and her killing intent was strong. Every time she uttered a word, a sword light condensed and formed in her mouth. 6 sword lights floated quietly in the sky. It looks like 6 fireflies, without the slightest power. Seeing this scene, the Grand Elder sneered coldly. I thought you were going to let out some terrifying big move, but you were just letting out a fart, nothing much. With such a weak sword chi, you want to deal with this old man. The Grand Elder snorted coldly and called the immortal power in his body to form a shield that covered his whole body. Immediately afterwards, he moved to rush towards Xuanhuan. Xuanhuan looked at the Grand Elder, her expression unchanged. She gently held out her right hand. A sword light flew away quickly. Relying on this. There was a sneer on the face of the Grand Elder. He stretched out his fist, aimed at the sword light and punched out. The Grand Elder's face changed drastically at the next second. The sword light pierced his fist and flew over, aiming at the center of his eyebrow. Immediately afterwards, boom. Boom. 2 explosions sounded slightly. The Grand Elder's fist and head directly exploded into blood mist. Boom. The headless body fell heavily to the ground. Shoo, the sword light flew back to Xuanhuan again. It only took 1 strike for the Grand Elder to die tragically on the spot. Such a scene strongly stimulated everyone's eyes. Whether it was an elder or a younger generation, they were all frightened at this exact moment. A ray of sword light that seems to have no power can easily kill the 9th stage ascendant realm. Who can be her opponent? If she uses 6 sword lights, the whole clan can be wiped clean, right? At this thought ended, the sound of cold air being inhaled resounded. Everyone was crawling on the ground, shivering. Miss, we were wrong, forgive us. Miss, we are innocent, we were only obeying orders. Such voices kept ringing. Xuanhuan ignored the family's descendants begging for mercy. Her gaze was directly on the 9 elders, which made the 9 elders tremble. Among them, the 2nd elder took a step forward, and after a few breaths, he said. Miss, you can't kill us. Chapter 99. Family Treasure Xuanhuan Cup. You are listening at novelfull.audio. For what reason? Xuanhuan said coldly. The 2nd elder's body trembled, and his expression trembled. First, your father is not dead yet, he is locked in the secret room. We are the top power of the Xuanhuan family. If you kill us, the Xuanhuan clan will definitely decline. Threatening me. Xuanhuan smiled coldly. In the future, the Xuanhuan family will not decline with me. Thus, the vermins who harm my father shall die. As she finished her words, 6 sword lights rushed over quickly. No, a shout full of unwillingness stopped abruptly. The 9 elders fell down in a daze, turning into headless corpses. At this moment, everyone was paralyzed and shivered. Listen first, I will spare your life for the time being. As a descendant of the Xuanhuan family, those who want to obtain resources must contribute to the family. The family does not keep waste and white-eyed wolf, ingrate. Next time if you dare commit another crime, I will uproot you and never show mercy. The overbearing and unquestionable voice spread through the ears of every child. All the children crawled on the ground and kept kowtowing. Thanking Miss for sparing us. Xuanhuan flew down, came to the middle-aged man, took out the pill, and fed it down. After exploring the pulse, he breathed a sigh of relief. Uncle Ing, take a rest first, I'll go to find my father. Someone come. Yes. Take a good care of Uncle Ing. Yes, miss. Whoosh, Xuanhuan disappeared instantly. When she reappeared, she had already come to the family forbidden dungeon. The people detained here were all murderous people. Damn it. Dared to lock my father here. You should be happy I didn't kill you. Xuanhuan's face was full of anger. She rushed to the dungeon and soon came to her destination. Looking at the scene before her, tears were shining in her eyes. Father. He saw a middle-aged man hung in the air inside a cell. A few chains as thick as an arm directly pierced his shoulder blade from behind. His whole face was drained of blood. This person was Xuanhuan's father. Xuanhuan smashed through the cell door with a sword and put Xuanhuan down. After pulling out the iron chain on his body, she feeds him the spirit pill. She walked out carrying him. Xuanhuan woke up leisurely on his bed in the patriarch's room after a long time. Little Shi, you are back. Did you rescue me? Where are the 10 grand elders? They didn't embarrass you, did they? Xuanhuan asked. It's okay. Father, they are all dead. Xuanhuan said. What? How is this possible? What is going on? Xuanhuan asked in disbelief. Then, Xuanhuan told everything from her entrance to Blood Phoenix Nest to an encounter with Sun Hao. Xuanhuan listened quietly, gaped, and did not recover for a long time. In this world, there are such immortals. The human race has hope. Xuanhuan muttered to himself, his eyes shining indefinitely. He looked at Xuanhuan with a serious look. Little Shi, you are doing the right thing, that young master is great, you must return a gift to young master. Father, can you give young master some immortal crystals? Xuanhuan looked at Xuanhuan her expression was tense. No, Xuanhuan strictly refused. Upon hearing this, Xuanhuan sighed secretly and furrowed her eyebrows. Immortal crystal was indeed too expensive, and it made sense for her father being reluctant to take it out. As the patriarch, it was not easy for her father to consider the family. They wished to break every immortal crystal into 3 parts for every use. However, if they didn't take the immortal crystal, what can she give the young master? After thinking about it, Xuanhuan couldn't think of anything that the young master would like. Little Shi, how can a character like the young master regard an immortal crystal? If you want to give a gift, it will naturally be our family's heirloom. Xuanhuan said. What? Xuanhuan looked astonished and couldn't believe it. Family heirloom. Father, when do we have a family heirloom? Xuanhuan asked. Of course we have. Xuanhuan smiled slightly, pretending to be profound. The family heirloom is kept by the patriarch. Of the entire family, only the patriarch and the 10 elders know. The reason why father is still alive is because I did not hand over the family heirloom. Otherwise, they would have killed me long ago. Father, do we really have Xuanhuan cup? 1, yes. Follow father. Yes, father. Xuanhuan Shi took a sigh of relief and followed Xuanhuan Yi into a firewood shack. After Xuanhuan Yi pressed the hidden switch, an underground tunnel was revealed. Along the way, the two passed through many secret passages and mechanisms. Some mechanisms that seemed like stone walls opened a secret door under Xuanhuan Yi's operation. There are at least dozens of hidden doors like this. Moreover, the wall can block the divine consciousness and prevent detection. No wonder the 10 elders did not get the family heirloom. These secret doors alone made it impossible for people to find them. This walk took half an hour. Xuanhuan Yi stood in front of a stone wall with a serious look. "Father, this is?" Xuanhuan Shi asked. "Wait a moment, it will be fine soon." Xuanhuan Yi closed his eyes, muttering words in his mouth, waving his hands incessantly, making Xuanhuan Shi to be dazzled. After a while, the stone wall slowly sank, and a stone chamber appeared. The stone room was small, only a few square meters. There were dense arrays all around. In the middle of the stone wall, a shelf was 2 meters high and looked like a lantern. The shape was extraordinary, like a spire. There was an empty circular hole in the middle of the shelf, the size of a head. Standing in front of this shelf made one feel that their whole person was very comfortable and their soul was getting stronger. "Treasure," Xuanhuan Shi murmured, her eyes twinkling. "Little Shi, this is called Xuanhuan Cup, it is our family's heirloom. I hope young master can see its value." Xuanhuan Yi said. "Father, do you really want to give the family heirloom to young master?" Xuanhuan Shi looked surprised. "Of course." Xuanhuan Yi showed incomparably resolute expression, "It is our blessing to be in the good grace of such characters as the young master. Compared with the calligraphy that young master gave you, it is not at the same level. When you fully integrate the words on it, you will be able to become an immortal. With you, my Xuanhuan family will be able to pass it on for thousands of years. Not to mention, we have a good bond with young master. If young master can give us a little fortune, my Xuanhuan family can inherit 100,000 years or millions of years. Do you understand these principles?" Xuanhuan Yi said earnestly. "Father, I understand." Xuanhuan Shi said. "Good child, take this thing, hurry and send it to young master, don't let young master think you are a white-eyed wolf." Xuanhuan Yi said. "Yes, father." "Wait. Father, what else do you have to say? Remember, you must never contradict the young master. Just follow the young master. Remember, bear it in mind." "Yes, father." Xuanhuan Shi nodded heavily. Then, with a wave of her right hand, she placed the Xuanhuan cup in her palm and quickly walked away. Like this, maybe you could read It Turns Out I Am a Dao Ancestor chapter 99 to chapter 142 on Patreon. Your Patreon subscription is valid for all the novel release here. In other words, if this website has 10 novels, then you will be able to read all on Patreon. Currently we have 3. Chapter 100. What a Big Eel. You are listening at novelfull.audio. In the western region of Tianluo continent, in a mountain range, there was a 7th class sect, Blue Mist sect, located here. Today, on the sect's sky, the sky and the earth roared, shockwave filled the air. A huge yellow dragon floated in the sky, looking down on the entire Blue Mist sect. On the ground, a group of disciples stared at the giant dragon head blankly, frightened. They fell to the ground, shivering. Whoosh, dozens of figures came quickly, appearing in front of the dragon's head. The leader was Blue Mist sect's sect master. He looked at Huang Long, delicate beads of sweat flowed down on his forehead. "I do not know this honorable senior, do you have any advice?" "Haha," Huang Long smiled coldly, "I'm hungry, do you have any suggestion?" "Honorable senior, if you are hungry, please eat me, let the other disciples go," said the leader. "Are you ordering me to do something?" After speaking, the dragon's head descended from the sky and bit at the sect master's location. Seeing this scene, the sect master's scalp went numb and struggled frantically, but his whole body was imprisoned, unable to move at all. Gotcha! A cracking sound was heard. The sect master's head was bitten off, followed by his body. Another gotcha sounded as Xuanhuan chewed for a few times, then swallowed into its abdomen. A little bit is still cultivation. Xuanhuan nodded slightly, its eyes swept across the blue mist sect. No, don't, run. The disciples were so scared that they ran around like a headless fly. Xuanhuan opened its monstrously big mouth and sucked hard. A massive force of horror envelopes everyone. They lost control of their body and flew upside down into Xuanhuan's mouth. Without chewing, it swallowed all of them into its stomach. Pooh! Skeletons filled the sky when they were spat out from Xuanhuan's mouth, falling like rain. The blue mist sect was lifeless, like a Shura hell. In an instant, there was no vitality. I'm full, it's time to see Xiaola. Xuanhuan glanced at blue mist sect, turned around, and flew quickly to Ghost Dragon Lake. A few hours later, Xuanhuan came to Ghost Dragon Lake and sprinted down quickly. Xuanhuan searched around after entering the lake, not here. Where did Xiaola go? Meanwhile, in the north of Ghost Dragon Lake, a long rainbow came quickly. This rainbow was Sun Hao and Huang Rumeng. After landing, Sun Hao looked at the calm Ghost Dragon Lake, his eyes full of brilliance. Rumeng, do you think you can catch the eel this time? The eel. Young master, that is a peerless ferocious flood dragon, only one step away from transforming into a dragon. Only one of this fierce flood dragon kind in this Ghost Dragon Lake was already pretty good. How could it be possible to get more? Maybe. Huang Rumeng said. Rumeng, you don't believe me. This entire pool is like a lake, maybe I can fish out something big. Sun Hao said. Young master, of course I believe you. Good luck, young master. Huang Rumeng said. Well, help me get the fish net out. Sun Hao said. Yes, young master. Huang Rumeng took out the fish net that Sun Hao had prepared in advance. She looked at this fish net, her eyes twinkled indefinitely. She couldn't see the grade of this fish net. However, it could be ascertained that even if an immortal was tied up, they might not be able to break free. Rumeng, when Brother Chen and the others come over, we will travel around the world, what do you think? Sun Hao said. Everything will be arranged by young master. Huang Rumeng said. Don't, tell me what you think. Sun Hao said. Young master, my idea is to follow every of your arrangements. Huang Rumeng smiled. Sun Hao was speechless for a while, really couldn't treat her equally. AI, heart.plugged, 1. Forget it, that was fine. It was a blessing to have such a wife who never quarrels. Rumeng, do you know this western region, which place has the most cultivators? Sun Hao asked. Young master, the place with the most immortal cultivators in the western region is West Prefecture Immortal City. More than 90% of the people in it are cultivators. Huang Rumeng said. West Prefecture Immortal City. Sun Hao's eyes shone with brilliance, revealing an extreme fascination. If there were so many cultivators, then it must be effortless to distribute his works. When Brother Chen comes over, he will go to West Prefecture Immortal City. Sun Hao murmured, secretly making a decision. Sun Hao threw the fish net down, making a splashing sound and layers of ripples on the water. These vibrations spread from the surface to the bottom of the lake. Xuanhuan stared at a soul lamp that had been extinguished, its face full of anger. Ah! Who the hell is it? Who killed Xiaola? Don't let me catch you, otherwise, I will skin you and pull you apart. Xuanhuan said bitterly as its eyes were about to split from anger. Suddenly, it raised its eyebrows. Someone. A mortal. Actually daring to cast off a fish net in this place. Courting death. A little girl in 9th stage ascendant. It just so happens that I will make you two as a sacrifice to Xiao La Wat. The both of them have Xiao La's aura. Damn, damn. Xiao La was eaten by them. My Xiao La, you died so miserably, I shouldn't have been too far away from you. I should be crossing my tribulation nearby. When I catch you, you won't be able to live nor die. After speaking, Huan Long rushed up quickly. Damn fish net, I will break it. Huan Long aimed at the fish net and slammed into it. The terrifying momentum caused the water in the entire ghost dragon lake to stir. The next second, Huan Long's face changed drastically. It found that its body was shrinking rapidly. In the blink of an eye, it became only as thick as a thigh. Whoosh, it was as if the fishnet was alive. It would immediately envelop Huan Long. It was impossible to break free even if it exhausted every means possible. BDNVL.M, damn, how dare a mortal like you restrain me? I am from the ancient dragon clan. If your human clan doesn't want to be destroyed, then let me go. Damn, do you hear me? My father is Xiang Planet's Dragon King. If you dare to touch me, you will be very dead. However, when these voices reached Sun Hao's ears, they all turned into eel's screeches. Oh, what a big eel! This is a thigh thick. Fortunately, my net is strong enough. Otherwise, it may be able to break free. Rummen, we can make it into several meals now. Sun Hao's eyes lit up as he said so. Just based on you being immortal, you want to control and capture me. Huan Long saw Sun Hao grabbing it with big hands, it aimed to bite his hand. However, a force like Mount Tai straightly pressed Huan Long down to the ground, it was unable to move at all. ZZ, it squeaked and struggled frantically, however, it was useless. Sun Hao's big hand seemed to be extremely powerful, too, so it could not break free at all. 7 inches hold, 3, do you still want to escape? I'm a person who has strike iron, and I have a bit of strength. After speaking, Sun Hao held a hammer and aimed it at Huan Long's head and hit it down. Bang! Huan Long fainted instantly with a tilted head. Huan Rummen watched this scene blankly, with fine sweat rolling down her forehead. This is a dragon. Although it was a dragon that had just transformed, it was still a real dragon. The yellow dragon was in the hands of young master, and it didn't even have a chance to struggle. Young master's strength was terrifying. Not to mention the future of the dragon, maybe that Dragon King will fall head first in the hands of young master. Internet invented word, this means there is an emotion that makes you feel flustered, uncomfortable, unspeakable pain, and speechlessness. Wanjun. Million Caddy. http://xh.5156edu.com/html5/95747.html It should be from, hit the snake 7 inches below its head. Supposedly this will 1.hit k.o. at the snake. I guess Sun Hao's move is to paralyze, although the back of their head should hold this slithery creature. Huang equals yellow, Long equals dragon, so yeah, basically yellow dragon, usually refer to the weakest one if it is yellow. You could read It Turns Out I Am a Dao Ancestor chapter 101, 144 on Patreon.